Welcome to the program. I am so glad that you've joined me today. I have a question for you. What does it take to see promises of God come to pass in your life? Faith, persistence, and an understanding and awareness of how God processes of perfecting you and destiny unfolds. Well, that's for sure. When we're going through a hard time, we find it hard to see or have the right perception how God's hand is still upon our lives. I've told you so often that your spirit has a knowledge of things in your future that your mind struggles to comprehend. We often lose perspective. Our vision becomes clouded and muddied by the natural distractions and circumstances of life. But when Jesus healed the two blind men in Matthew chapter 9, he asked them first, "Believe you that I am able to do this?" And when they answered, "Yes, Lord," he touched their eyes and told them, "According to your faith, be it unto you." It was their faith, Jesus told them, that healed them. We have to remember that God's a big God. He's a God of more than enough. And we have to continue to dig our heels in and say, just like those blind men, "Lord, we can't see you. We can't see our blessing yet. We can't see anything, but I believe you anyway. You will, you can, and I know that my blessing shall come to pass." Now let's get into the conclusion of the message that I preached at Place for Life. A small cloud, but a whole lot of rain. It's a biblical illustration how God works from 1 Kings chapter 18, revealing how quickly God ended a drought by sending a whole lot of rain. And then I'll be right back, because what looks like a little in your life is going to prove to be a whole lot. Let's hear what God has to say to you. 450 prophets of Baal, and they jump on one man. I wish I had leadership here just tonight, because if I did, I would talk to you for just a moment of all of them standing in total agreement, because that's the only time people really get together in unity, when they want to jump on you and kill you. You can't get two people together for anything unless they want to jump on you and kill you. 450 prophets gonna jump on one man of God just to kill him. Isn't it amazing who people who would never even talk or communicate suddenly are exchanging phone numbers, going out to lunch, going to dinner together, at a movie, forming a club, a clique, and a posse for one purpose: to kill you. They just want to strategize and kill you. Go ahead, do what you got to do. Go ahead, have your heyday, because when this is all over, God is still going to be God. You better slap somebody, say, "It's good, it's all good, it's all good." Because if God be for me, then who can be against me? So God, watch, is developing the type of faith that makes you look like a fool. Now I'm almost through. I've got just a few minutes. But it's that next level. That if you happen to be in the house tonight, and you've been through anything in the past few years that you look like a fool, come on. Then you know we're here. Come on, we're homies. Come on, sisterhood. Yeah, we all together right now. Dustin's laughing at me. He's like, "Mom, don't even try to go ghetto on us. Come on." He's just laughing right now. Look at somebody right now and say, "I've got you. We're in this thing together. We're in this thing together." Because that trouble, watch, was created just for you. Just for you, that trouble. Think about that. That God loved you enough, Will, to create that trouble just for you. Yeah. That God loved you enough to design, Pastor Chris, the past year of your life just for you. He loves you enough to sovereignly strategize and allow that trouble and trauma and all that dilemma and that drama to come into your life, because he loves you enough to show up and to show off. Because you could have been part of the ordinary. You could have been part of the comfort zone. But God said, "I'm about to be extraordinary in your life." So I don't know who I'm here for, but somebody looked like a fool in the last year or two, talking about how he's Jehovah Jireh and having to file for bankruptcy, talking about how God is a big God and all his promises come to pass, and having to go through 18 life personal crises, and saying God still heals and God still delivers and God still saves and God still restores and God still has a better future than anything of your past. I don't know what you've been through, but it made you look foolish. It made you look like you lost your mind.
sign and that God didn't exist, you better look at somebody and say, she's talking to you right now. He loved you enough to create that trouble. Be seated. That he would be the only one that could get you out of it. Now talk to me, Elijah, because your name, your identity reminds you every single day that God is Jehovah. That he's Jehovah. He says you're going to come out of this. So Elijah teaches us faith in 3 absolute ways. In the next 5 minutes I give them to you. He gives you a sign, he gives you a sound, and he gives you a storm. The first thing is God said, build a trench with fire, an altar, and some water, because I'm going to give you a public sign. I don't know whose faith has been made to look foolish, but God is getting ready to give you a public sign. He's getting ready to demonstrate some things in front of everybody, that everybody who has mocked you and made fun of the God in you that you are serving, God's about to give a public sign. Everyone is looking at you, and God will not let you be shamed. God will not let you be shamed. Not one of us is worth the reputation of God. He's not going to let you be shamed. So publicly, everyone that has mocked, and everybody that has rejected, and everybody that has questioned, and everybody that has said, now where is your God now, will see a public demonstration, because fire began to fall from heaven, and there will be no mistake where this miracle is coming from, because there's going to be fire falling from heaven. This ain't going to be from grandma, this ain't going to be from pastor, this ain't going to be from your best friend. This is coming from God. This is a job for Jesus. This wasn't one the government can do. This isn't one that your corporation could do. This isn't one that your money could do. This is a job for Jesus. So fire's coming from heaven, and it licked up the wood and the rocks and the water. Rocks means the hard places. Rocks is always supernatural, because God will give you a sign for the hard places in your life to be burned up. Something that is impossible, God's about to send a miracle from heaven and say the hard places in your life are about to be burned up, because God is still God. You're not going under, you're going over, and God's going to show, I'm with you, I have you, and what's impossible to man is more than possible to me. I've got your back, I've covered you, I've hedged you, I've walked you through this, I've walked with you in this. A sign is coming to your life. I came to declare, get ready for your sign. Get ready for your sign. God's about to publicly demonstrate and display his glory in your life. And even though he got a sign, I'm through in a minute, you can have a great victory, but it doesn't end the struggle. Because even though God gave him a sign, it wasn't over. It wasn't over. And this is where you've got to get something working on the inside of you, that you get rid of the mentality that you're just going to overcome the places of having to fight and let your faith work. Because the moment that happens, you stop growing. It will be a continual process in your life. Because even though he had a great victory, it doesn't end the struggle. He didn't even get to celebrate the sign, because he's standing in a drought. He's standing in a dry place when God gives him a public sign. And there's part of the problem right there. But new perspective. You're going to get a fresh outlook, and you're going to welcome things that you were trying to get rid of in your life. Things that you didn't want to be a part of your package, you're going to have a different attitude about starting tonight. You're going to get a fresh perspective, because a drought or a dry place is happening, but God sees that, and he sees that he's in a dry place, gives him a sign, and a drought, and here's the problem, because the sign and the trench and the whole miracle with that was a problem that could be seen. But a drought cannot always be seen. It's not something that you can see the enemy of that dry place. It could been like with the 450 prophets of Baal, when they're in a dry place, and now he's at this place that is in a drought for him. It is a place of blandness. And when life gets bland, hear me, you get weary, which means you lose the sense of pleasure. It's one thing to go from high highs and lows. It's another thing not to feel anything. And when you get in a drought, you don't have high highs and you don't have low lows. The days that I have low lows, I'm still grateful, because I'm still feeling something. Because the hardest place to walk it out is when you feel nothing. So what do I do when I don't feel anything? I just have had a sign. But the difficulty of dealing with my sign is I'm in a dry place. Life is bland. It's lost its flavor. There's